All right. Welcome to episode number 86 of the Let's Discuss Gaming podcast. I am your host, Triple J. Joining me is my co host, Dr. Games 101.
Yo, guys, what's up? Hey, man.
And we got a bunch of stories to cover, as we do every 2 weeks. So I say we get right into the stories. How about you?
Indeed, indeed.
Okay, so first one coming up. Xbox Game Pass Core adds more games for the first time soon. Subscribers to the Core membership are getting a couple more games in December. For the first time since Xbox Game Pass Core launched in September, Microsoft is adding more games to its catalog. For anyone just catching up, Game Pass Core is the new name for Xbox Live Gold, which was phased out earlier this year. Game Pass Core, which costs $10 a month, has a collection of over 35 games, but not the entire Game Pass catalog. Microsoft has said it will update the Core catalog about 2 or 3 times per year, and now it's happening. The first additions to the library are the multiplayer first-person slasher Chivalry 2 and a comical delivery game Totally Reliable Delivery Service, both of which launch on December 6th. As for the main Game Pass catalog, it's adding 12 games in the first half of December. We're going to get to that later, so I'm not going to read that. In addition to the games offered through the service, Core subscribers also gain access to online console multiplayer, deals, discounts of up to 50% off select games, and access to free play days for select games. So this is the entire Game Pass Core lineup as of a couple days ago. Um, it, if you have Game Pass Core and not Game Pass Ultimate, these are the games you can play: Among Us, Astroneer, Celeste, starting December 6th, Chivalry 2, Dead Cells, Descenders, Dishonored 2, Doom Eternal Standard Edition, Fable Anniversary, Fallout 4, Fallout 76, Firewatch, Forza Horizon 4 Standard Edition, Gang Beast, Gears 5 Game of the Year Edition, Golf with Your Friends, Grounded, Halo 5 Guardians, Halo Wars 2, Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice, Human Fall Flat, Inside, Limbo, Ori and the Will of the Wisp, Overcooked 2, Payday 2 Climb Wave Edition, Power Wash Simulator, Psychonauts 2, Slay the Spire, Spiritfarer Farewell Edition, Stardew Valley, State of Decay 2 Juggernaut Edition, Superliminal, The Elder Scrolls Online, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, Totally Reliable Delivery Service starting December 6th, Unpacking, and Vampire Survivors.
Hmm.
So, do any of these games really interest you in Xbox Game Pass Core?
If I recall correctly, I did purchase Payday 2 before when it was on sale sometime earlier last year, I believe. But I'm not sure. But regardless, though, if it's in the library of the Xbox Core and all, that's perfect. Because I have Ultimate Edition anyway for next month, thanks to a donation given by one of my other Xbox friends. So, thanks, shout out to Enjoy Gaming for that. Other than that, yeah, that's good. Payday 2. Then there's also Gears 4. I could try, not Gears 5,
Yeah,
Fallout
Gears
4.
5.
Yeah, Gears
Oh,
5 for
Fallout.
everyone. That too. Gears 5 too as well because I always wanted to finish that boss fight with that big scrupulous beast that's like that from the Berserker from Gears of War 1 because the Berserker in Gears of War 5 is much more powerful than ever before. He now can jump 20 feet in midair and shit like that. It's kind of crazy now. I've been stuck on that boss fight for a good year and a half now, at least now. Last time I checked. So I want to try and tackle that sometime next year, hopefully. Other than that, Fallout 4 I never played before, so I'll play that game one day next year. Then there's also Fallout 76 I tried out for the first hour or two. It was all right the first hour or two, but I hear that after several hours it gets a little boring. Not boring, it's just that and all that epically enhanced as supposed to be, or epically very epic, supposed to live up to, because the
Yeah,
creators behind Bethesda Bethesda games and all, like he was over promised people about the Fallout 76, and it wasn't a great launch back in 2018. So, other than that,
yeah.
the other games I'm not sure about necessarily. I mean, if I really want to tackle Astro Tier, I think it's called. I could do. I
That's
could
for me, I think.
Astro Near, yeah. So I could play that. See how that is. This is for science fiction
Yeah, I
related.
I gave my thoughts on the original lineup. Honestly, I'm a little disappointed by these additions. I mean, I played Chivalry 2 because it was a Game Pass quest where you could earn Microsoft points.
Yeah.
So I did play Chivalry 2. It's nothing that what made me come. There was nothing that made me want to go back to it once I have completed the quest, though. So it's not a game that interested me personally.
Hmm.
I never played Total Reliable Delivery Service. Um, so
Yeah.
it's like these games are a disappointment, if you ask me. Um,
Yeah,
you know,
partially speaking, it's disappointing because Gears
yeah,
Five.
it's.
Because I never want to buy full price Gears Five really. So
I don't blame you because I was playing Gears 5 through Game Pass and the game still didn't work correctly in the single player campaign. Um, but I'm just looking at the additions because we knew about the lineup when Game Pass Core launched. So
yeah,
it's kind of like the first edition, and these additions are only going to happen 2 or 3 times a year. You would think there would be like a big blockbuster or a big game where that would make almost everyone go ooh, be added at every time since you only adding games every 4 to 6 months.
yeah,
And I feel like that in these two games, it's just there's nothing there with a big name notoriety that would make me go, ooh, I got to get Game Pass Core at least. Don't
not
get me
right
wrong.
away.
Don't now don't get me wrong. Doom Eternal's awesome. Shredder's Revenge is awesome. Um, Overcooked 2 is a lot of fun. Gears 5, I had no problems with the multiplayer when I played it online. So, while I can't vouch for the single player, the multiplayer never gave me any problems. So it's like all those games are fine, but they were also there with the service when the service launched. So it's like these additions feel a little lackluster. And I think that's what Microsoft needs to take into account. If you're going to continue Game Pass Core, and you're only going to update it 2 or 3 times a year, have some big game that a lot of that gets positive reception by the masses. Have that as a blockbuster, and then you can add anything else you want. Because if these two games
Mm.
came with, and I'm just thinking here, what's a good Xbox game?
Mortal
Say
Kombat
they
10,
added the, huh?
Mortal Kombat 10.
Or 11, or even if you want to go older, say they added Alan Wake, the original.
Oh yeah, that'd
That
be
would be
better.
like, if they added Alan Wake in these two games, I'd be like, okay, for people who never got to play Alan Wake all the way through, or even American Nightmare, for people who never got to play that, that's worth having Game Pass Core if you don't have it already. And these two games are just extra.
Yeah,
But,
especially if they put Alan Wake on one, and Alan Wake American Nightmare together in a core and all, because there are some sellers out there or even gamers out there like myself who got Alan Wake for free if you bought Quantum Break on sale on Amazon. So that's very few people right to go for those sales, and I think that's over with for the last couple of years at least. So more
yeah,
power
I think
to
that was a limited time thing. Or
yeah.
put Quantum Break on there. I know it was a 2016 game, but I think I got like to chapter 4 or part 4 and I think Quantum Break was like a 5-part game. Put Quantum Break on there, and then put Chivalry 2 and Totally Reliable Delivering Service as on it. Just have a big game that will be like, okay, even if the other games no one cares about, 90% of our fan base is going to care about this game.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's my thought on it. Anything else to add, or ready to move on?
I'm ready to move on.
All right. Next. Honestly, I was surprised. I had more to say about that than I thought.
Oh yeah.
Uh, Far Cry 6, Steam World Build, and both Remnant games head to Game Pass this month. This is what I skipped over in the last article. The month of December brings many things: cold weather, the holiday season, and this year, a new crop of games on Xbox Game Pass. Highlights this month include Remnant from the Ashes and Remnant 2, giving subscribers a chance to try out both games if they haven't yet. It also gives them day one access to SteamWorld Build, the latest in the genre shifting SteamWorld series. And for fans of budget open world adventure games, subscribers will also get access to the latest entry in the Far Cry series. That they should have added that. Below is the full list, their dates, and our reviews. What's coming to Game Pass? Remnant from the Ashes. I'm not going to read the reviews, obviously, just the titles and release dates. Remnant from the Ashes comes to Cloud Console and PC. It came November 30th. So did Remnant 2. Came to Cloud PC and Xbox Series X and S.
Mm-hmm.
What came yesterday was Spirit of the North to Cloud Console and PC. SteamWorld Build to Cloud Console and PC. Coming the 5th, so that's this coming Tuesday, is Clone Drone in the Danger Zone, coming to Cloud PC and Xbox Series. Rise of the Tomb Raider, Cloud Console and PC. And While the Iron's Hot to Cloud Console and PC. Also on December 5th is World War Z Aftermath to Cloud Console and PC. I think Game Pass is going to be populated on the 5th of December.
Mm-hmm.
Goat Simulator 3 is coming to Cloud PC and Xbox Series on December 7th. Against the Storm is exclusive to PC on December the 8th. Tin Hearts is coming to Cloud Console and PC on the 12th. And Far Cry 6 is coming to Cloud Console and PC December 14th. We already covered what's coming to Game Pass Core. We're going to cover what's leaving Game Pass later. So, any of these additions to Game Pass Ultimate are you interested in?
I already have Far Cry 6 for months and months now. There was a Far Cry bundle on sale for Far Cry 3, 4, 5, and 6 for about 35, $40 with plus tax, whatever. So I got that months ago, way months ago. So I still got a lot more backlog of games to tackle at while taking care of Liza P the other day with you guys on my YouTube channel and all. So that's I'm up against the first boss fight of Liza P right now. So the other games I'm not sure about necessarily. I can't pick it out of my head if I've played with them before or if I heard about it in the past. If you go over the list one more time for me, Triple J, if possible.
Yeah. Remnant from the Ashes, Remnant 2, Spirit of the North, Steam World Build, Clone Drone in the Danger Zone, Rise of the Tomb Raider, While the Iron's Hot, World War Z Aftermath, Goat Simulator 3, Against the Storm, Tin Hearts, and Far Cry 6.
Now, Rise of the Tomb Raider, I have the triple trilogy bundle I bought either part of Games with Gold or some sort of like deal where it's like 30, $40 for the Steam library on Steam, that is, for about $40 for all Tomb Raider games up until the Tomb Raider 2018. So I got that. Then also there's Rise of Tomb Raider as well as Tomb Raider Reboot, the 2013 game. Both of those two games I got either Games with Gold and or part of a deal, like a discount or whatever. So I have to check back on my backlog of library games on the Xbox as well too. So yeah, I want to play the Rise of Tomb Raider if I can beat the first Tomb Raider reboot game beforehand though. What is the story behind that? You know.
Yeah. The only two games that really World War Z, it's sounds like it's just going to be another zombie game. And while I usually like one and gun games like Left 4 Dead and stuff, and Back for Blood,
Zombies Ate My Neighbors. That's a remake of it on the Xbox One.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's for $15-$20 now.
Huh? I didn't know. I didn't know that was.
Yeah,
that's what World War Z is.
no. If you want, you said a zombie game because Zombies Ate My Neighbors is a zombie game as well, the run and gun game from
Yeah.
the Super Nintendo. Because back in the
Yeah, I know.
90s, yeah.
But I think that's also kind of expensive nowadays.
No, it's not. I'm telling you, like there's a remake slash reboot of Zombies Ate My Neighbors on the Xbox library. Still, last time I checked, for about $15-$20. It came out back 2 years ago, maybe at least a year and a half ago. Because it was,
I don't remember.
yeah, check it
I
out
don't
on the
remember
library,
hearing
guys. Yeah, check it out on the Xbox library right now. It should be on. It's not on sale right this second. Last time I checked, but when it was on sale, it was like $15. So it's like a remaking of the game itself, but it's still run and gun. You know, the original run and gun game.
All right. Well,
It looks good.
like I said, World War Z is. It sounds just like another zombie game. I think it's just not hitting me like it used like those games normally would. But like you said, Rise of the Tomb Raider. Um, yeah, the 2013 reboot I feel doesn't get as much as it doesn't get as much respect as as they should. Um, but I'm definitely willing to try, the Tomb Raider reboot or Rise of the Tomb Raider, which I think was the sequel.
Yes,
And
it
the only
is.
other game that's coming to Game Pass that I recognize is Far Cry 6, which
Mm.
I played like an hour and a half of on a free play day once because I was switching between that and Lost Judgment, which was also a free play day on the same weekend.
Yeah.
So like I do one video, one game, one video the other. Um, so I got like an hour and a half into Far Cry 6. Unfortunately, I never got back to it. That's definitely one game which, for me, I have Far Cry 2 on the 360 through Games with Gold. But like after a while, I got lost. Like, where was I supposed to go? What am I supposed to do? And it doesn't take that long for me to get lost in Far Cry 3. After you find your first friend, you're supposed to go to like this cave to get like herbs to heal your friend because the doctor can heal your friend's wounds and like your friend's running a fever. So the first friend that you find, you have to go to like this underwater cave to get something, and I couldn't figure out where in the cave I was supposed to go. That's my experience with Far Cry 3. But Far Cry 6, I've actually been really interested in. I liked what I played the last when I played in that like in 90 minutes of it, and I'd love to get back to it. So, yeah, game that those are the games that I'm most interested in via Game Pass Ultimate.
Oh yeah, especially after that preview trailer when Far Cry months, really months before Far Cry 6 came out, where it showed that guy. I forgot the actor's name, but he started some films that feature like gangster films and stuff. So he was his facial features or his actual embodiment of himself was put into the game of Far Cry 6, and it was in regards of this prime minister slash dictator of sorts of this rundown country, like a banana republic of sorts. And he had his daughter held a grenade in in her hands, while the pin pulled out and all. Because if you hold the pin's other compartments in place after pulling out the pin, it will still never open up itself to an explosion. So he taught his daughter how to like control the grenade and drop it into the people down below and off on the balcony and shit. It was fucked up and stuff. So that was a good promo right there. I hope to see something like that in the Far Cry 6 game one day when I play it again. Or not play it again when I get a chance to play it, excuse me.
Yeah, so I mean, if any of these games interest you, some of them have come, some of them are coming. Um, but yeah, these are the new additions in store for Game Pass Ultimate.
Oh, yeah.
Anything else to add, or ready to move on?
We can move on.
All right. Next, Xbox Game Pass losing these four games soon. End of the road. As it does each month, Microsoft is set to remove more titles from the Xbox Game Pass library soon. Four titles are leaving the catalog in mid-December, Microsoft has announced. Titles set for removal include Chained Echoes, Opus Magnum, Potion Craft Alchemist Simulator, and Robber Bandits, all of which are getting dumped from the catalog on December 15th. Microsoft did not provide any explanation for why these games are leaving. It's common for games to get axed for any number of reasons, including business deals coming to an end, licensing issues, and any number of other possibilities. The good news is that if you're currently playing and enjoying any of the titles set for removal, you can buy them outright for 20% as part of your Game Pass membership perks. In terms of titles, we covered them. Um, in other Game Pass news, Xbox executive Tim Stewart recently said Microsoft wants to bring Game Pass to PlayStation and Nintendo devices, um, and everything else that has a screen, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I know I let my Game Pass Ultimate subscription expire in May. Are you going to be missing any of these games? Again, I'll go over them. Chained Echoes leaving Cloud Console and PC. Opus Magnum leaving PC. Potion Craft Alchemist Simulator leaving Cloud Console and PC. Just as Rubber Bandits are leaving Cloud Console and PC.
Wow, that's like some games I never heard of before, and then also that interest at the same time. It's like, what the hell? I mean, I would still play them for the sake of like it's part of my Game Pass. Might as well try them out. Get some achievements here and there. Because I just got an achievement through a game I haven't played yet after all these years called Burnout Paradise, and that game is alright to play when you take a break from like your main stay of games. Like my main games to play are FPS games like Apex Legends, Wolfenstein, Halo, Master Chief Collection, etc., etc. So after all these months at a time of playing FPS games, I was like, you know what? I want to take a break. Let me play some Tomb Raider. Then all of a sudden, I'll play this game and I'll play that game, and that's one of those games I might play with the Game Pass you mentioned with these simulators of alchemy and shit like that. It's kind of weird, but okay.
Yeah. Um, Burnout Paradise. I actually have that for the PS3 in the store right now. I did play Burnout Paradise remastered on Game Pass. I'm sorry, that game. It's like on the PS3, the signs are too hard to read where you're supposed to go, and the map really doesn't help when you're supposed to go somewhere to get something going in remastered. So I did try out Burnout Paradise both for the PS3 and on Xbox One. Um, it's okay in the beginning, but like I said, once you've completed a few things, then it's almost like where do I go from here?
Right.
Yeah, but none of these four games that I mentioned, I didn't even know they were there, to be honest.
Yeah,
Since
those.
like I said, I let my subscription expire in May, but I didn't even know these games were there. These games must have come like after my subscription had expired,
Yeah.
because I just don't remember hearing about them until now.
Yeah, these games sound like it's for kids anyway. All this the alchemist stuff, like I mean, it's nice to try out like these like experimentation has been around for since the dawn of man, and back in the 1400s, 1300s, 14th, 13th centuries and all, the alchemy was a big thing among the European societies at large. And that's good for like back then of its time, but then it's like in today's time we have the modern scientific method. So it's kind of like, alchemy is kind of like this hocus pocus type of mantra here, but that's about it. So
Right. Yeah. So if you played any of these four games and you were a fan of them, uh, you might want to consider buying them because they're about to leave in about just under 2 weeks from now.
oh yeah,
Anything else to add, or ready to move on?
I'm ready to move on.
All right. Next, Unity to lay off 265 employees at Weta Digital as part of company reset. Only 2 years after acquiring part of Weta's VFX business, Unity is stepping back to focus on its core business. Unity has announced a round of layoffs and the closure of Weta Digital after it decided to end its agreement with Peter Jackson's Weta FX. The layoffs will impact 265 employees, a total of 3.8% of its workforce, Reuters report. Back in December 2021, Unity acquired a part of Peter Jackson's Weta Digital, including Weta Digital's tools, pipeline technology, and engineering talent, in a deal worth $1.625 billion. The remainder of Weta Digital remained under Jackson's ownership and rebranded to Weta FX, with the company maintaining an agreement to use Weta Digital tools and services. Now, Unity says it has terminated the professional services part of this agreement, which will result in the layoffs of 265 employees involved in the agreement. Weta FX issued a statement to FX Guide saying it would be looking to rehire as much of the Weta Digital team as possible. Unity will retain ownership of the tools it acquired, and they will remain readily available for Weta FX to use. Unity believes the Weta Digital team are remarkable, but Unity needs to become leaner as it focuses its expertise on its core business, the statement says, explaining why this decision was made. It also believes it makes more sense for Weta FX to own full end-to-end production activities directly. Unity will be focusing its expertise and people on other matters, and Weta FX will be getting support for its use of the Weta tools directly from its own crew, a shorter path which makes sense for both companies. The move has been called a company reset by Unity, with the company looking to refocus on its core business of game development. Unity will also look to reduce its office footprint as a cost-cutting measure, shutting down offices in 14 locations, including Berlin and Singapore. The company will encourage employees to work from home more often, removing mandatory in-office days for employees and reducing full in-office services to just 3 days a week. The layoffs come at a tumultuous time for the company after it tried to introduce the unpopular one-time fee to make up revenue. The fallout from that announcement saw a developer across the industry denounce Unity, along with a steep drop in share price, and CEO John Riccatello stepped away from the company. Unity employees have already faced layoffs once this year, with 8% of its workforce laid off in May, in a move the company said was necessary for higher growth. So, what do you think of these layoffs from Unity?
Now, Unity, if I recall correctly, what were their games they produced or created? If I recall correctly.
It doesn't say in the article. I'm seeing if there's a link to what they've done. Um, let's see if anything in the comments. Um,
Because I like to look at the studio's production of their games, see if how high caliber, high value they are to the company, and to the public. Because the higher the game is the value to the public, the better for that company to sustain itself. You know,
right. Okay. I'm getting a list right now. Games developed on Unity. Um, so Cuphead, Hearthstone, Pokemon Go, Monument
wow.
Valley, Beat Saber, Escape from Tarkov, Hollow Knight, Ori and the Blind Forest. So
Wow.
Ori and the Will of the Wisp are probably there
Holy
too.
shit.
Among Us, Outer Wilds, RimWorld, Subnautica, City Skyline, Fall Guys, Getting Over It, Marvel Snap, Rust, Totally Accurate Battle Simulator, Tunic, Untitled Goose Game, Inside, Escape Plan, Golf Story, and The Forest.
Oh, inside. Oh, wow. Wow. That's
Yeah.
crazy right there. Like they lay off that many people for all those games they made. Like, wow, that's just like it doesn't make any sense because inside. What else you mentioned? You Hollow Knight. You mentioned other games like you said. Like it doesn't make any sense. Like the other ones sell like hotcakes, like literally hotcakes, like GTA 5 and all. But they're up there to a point where they sustain like some sort of stability in the market. Because I'm willing to buy Hollow Knight, if I have the money for it, or perhaps even Among
Ori
Us
and
for
the
five
Blind
bucks.
Forest.
I already the Blind Forest part of the Game Pass and all. So yeah, I can play
Right.
it anytime I really want to do that myself. So it's like I'm gonna tell Unity that they mismanage themselves. Most likely, that's their problem. So whoever these managers are in the company, who are allocating the resources, the logistics of the matter, are selling these games to the public, it's kind of like that's the management's fault for fucking up the developers, shtick, their livelihood. Because I understand the saying goes where it's like once until the game made so much billions and billions of dollars, they lay off workers afterward for the sake of like saving money, whatever. That's what Microsoft did with buying AI technology more and more so than not for the last couple of years now. Because we hear about this new AI system with ChatGPT for the last couple of years now, and that's what Microsoft did as of late. They lay off all these workers, hundreds of workers, if not thousands, and then they use the fucking AI technology to replace them. It's pathetic. It's I wish they can like do a little balance in the matter, but because people need to work. You can't just like make them not work or force people not to work at all. They have the right to work. They have like the one particular organization I donate to called the National Right to Work Committee, and the president is Mark Mix and all. He mentioned that every worker has a right to work in wherever they want to pursue in, whether it's professionally or for personal reasons, personal business. You have a right to work. You can't just take that away from their livelihood for people just the fact that you just don't like them or you don't like them to work too much or whatever the case may be. It doesn't matter. So that's how I look at it. So it sucks
Well,
that they're busy.
keep in mind, it didn't say the developers. It said whoever came over from basically Weta FX, which is a company they purchased stake in at the end of December in 2021. A year and a half later, now they're letting 265 employees go, and they're all basically from the Weta FX team, Weta FX acquisition. But Unity said they're going to try to retain as many jobs as they can, retain as many employees as they can.
Okay. It sucks,
Um,
it's another layoff as always.
and I'm going to mention another YouTuber. Not trying to. I don't want. I'm not trying to steal Brett Cooper's format. The comment section with Brett Cooper, but I was reading the comment section of this article, and I wanted to bring up this comment by Seb. Uh, I think it's SEB and then a capital B, and that person said, "Company reset, aka we fucked up." Uh, Natendian says Unity owned Weta Digital. Mogan goes, Unity has not made it a great year for themselves. Seb replied to that comment by beautiful greed. And Kassar says, which core business are they referring to? The game development engine or the microtransaction system for mobile games? They spent billions on the malware company that gave them this many board members. I'd almost expect them to prioritize getting returns from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so but when I saw that top comment, I'm like, I had to bring that up.
Yeah,
Company
you're doing
reset,
good.
aka.
Yeah, you're doing good, Triple J. Now, don't let Brett Cooper take your spotlight.
Hey, I'm not trying to start anything. I'm just saying. Usually, we don't read the comment section of these articles, but I had to bring that up when I saw it when I was looking for games that Unity was responsible for.
Yeah, Brett Cooper. We have nothing against. I have nothing against her personally myself. I mean, she's our rising
I'm actually
YouTuber.
a viewer of hers on YouTube. I think I'm subscribed to her.
Okay, yeah, I've seen her for the last few months on YouTube Shorts and all, but these YouTubers gotta learn to share the resources. We've been around longer than these people, if I remember correctly. So,
Yeah, but again, for since Doctor Games 101 totally missed the boat. Nothing against Brett Cooper. She doesn't have anything against me that I know of. Um, I'm just saying, her show's called the comment section. We usually don't read the comments from people who of the articles we cover. But that time, when I saw that top comment, company reset, aka we fucked up. I was like, oh, I gotta cover this.
yeah, yeah,
Ready to move on?
yeah. Let's move on.
Uh, Next, Yakuza Like a Dragon, Shadow of Mordor, and more, leaving PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium in December. Middle Earth and Yakuza fans are losing out in December. We have our first look at the games leaving PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium in December 2023, according to PlayStation Game Size. They include Yakuza 6, The Song of Life, Yakuza Like a Dragon, okay, Middle Earth Shadow of Mordor, and Middle Earth Shadow of War. Notably, the Yakuza titles will exit the service shortly before the next installment in the franchise. Like a Dragon Infinity Wealth releases on January 26, 2024. The group of 11 titles will apparently exit the Sony service come December 19th, giving players just a few days shy of a month to try them out. When the offerings leave PlayStation Plus next month, those enjoying the game will need to purchase them if they wish to continue their progress. You can see the full list of soon-to-leave games below. Okay, Yakuza 6, The Song of Life, Yakuza Like a Dragon, which is awesome, Middle Earth Shadow of Mordor, and Shadow of War. I played both. Those
Right.
are also awesome games. Polybius Blaze, Damascus Gear, Operation Tokyo HD Edition, El Hijo, A Wild West Tale, excuse me,
Mm-hmm.
Foreclosed, Friday the 13th, Legends of Return of Eternal, and The Escapist 2. With well-received titles like Middle-earth, Shadow of Mordor, and Shadow of War, Yakuza 6, Like a Dragon, and more on their way out, December will see subscribers losing some great games. To help make up for the losses, Sony has added another selection of games that are available to play today. PlayStation Extra and Premium subscribers now have access to the following 8 games. We might have covered these 2 weeks ago, but I'll go over them again. River City Melee Mac for PS4, Dragon's Dogma Dark Risen for PS4, Mobile Suit Gundam Extreme vs. Maxi Boost on PS4, Nobunaga's Edition Taishi for PS4, Dead Island Riptide for PS4, Alternate J. Connor Daedalus The Awakening of Golden Jazz for PS4, Unit Chronicle Rising for PS4 and PS5, and Superliminal for PS4 and PS5. Premium members, meanwhile, get a few exclusive classic titles, including Power Up the Rapper 2 for PS4, Up for PS4 and PS5, Klonoa Fantasy Reverie Series for PS4 and PS5, Grandia for PS4 and PS5, and Jet Moto for PS4 and PS5. Earlier this month, PlayStation Extra and Premium members received another bonus in the form of the blocky destruction game Teardown. It comes to PS5 players on PS on November. It came to PS5 players on November 15th. Um, I know we don't have PlayStation, but damn, the service is losing a lot of great games from this list. What do you think?
Well, I mean, PlayStation shouldn't really get rid of their library like that so easily. But then again, they have license issues for quite some time now, and that's why people are pissed off with PlayStation for the last few weeks now. Because I hear that
Yeah,
they've been delisted some games and other services depending upon what you're buying from PlayStation, where you own the product first on digitally, and they're going to delete it altogether from the library as well as for your library as well too if you're a PlayStation owner of sorts of these
yep,
games. So it's
yep.
kind of
Well,
like
I saw Review Tech USA's video on that.
yeah, it was unprofessional. I saw a Rich's view of a video, and it was unprofessional and tacky for them to place Sony PlayStation for doing that. I'm baffled because like you pay for the product unless you're gonna get a full refund for the games. I can understand that. Might as well do that for people. But if you're not gonna do that for people, then you're very shady as a seller, as a merchandise seller. And I have to say that's
And since
unprofessional right there.
and since you're bringing that up, I'll just bring that up. That's another reason I'm going back to retro. That's another reason I'm going to start getting DVDs of movies that I like. The last 2 or 3 weeks, I've gotten the Tim Burton Batman movies and the Back to the Future trilogy. Now that I got those on DVD, I can watch them anytime I want.
Right.
So and I'm going to continue to get DVDs of movies that I like. But I mean, yeah, that's the reason.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, yeah. So just since you brought it up, yeah, it's awful, and that's the problem with an all digital future. You really will not own anything, even if you purchased it. So but hey, DVDs, Blu-rays, even 4K will always be on eBay. At least of older movies. I don't know about new ones. Just get those, get box sets of TV shows if you like, and I guess go back to retro for video games.
Definitely.
But back to this list. Like I said, the Yakuza series, 6, I really didn't care about, but Yakuza Like a Dragon, that's obviously one of my favorites. I'm gonna probably buy myself a copy of the game physical so I can play it. The Middle Earth game, Shadow Mordor, came out on the 360 like about a decade ago. Shadow War, I don't know exactly when that came out, but I played it on Game Pass. That's a good game.
Yeah.
So yeah, so a lot of these games, Friday the 13th, that's a fun multiplayer game. Although it's not exactly shocking to see that PlayStation's dropping that from its service, especially when service is going to shut down sometime next year.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, hey, if you're a PlayStation Plus, Premium, or Extra subscriber, I would try out those 5 games if you haven't already. That's my recommendation.
Indeed.
Anything else to add, or ready to move on?
Yeah, ready to move on.
Okay. Okay. Next, Jet Force Gemini comes to Switch Online expansion pack next month. Subscribers to Nintendo Switch Online's highest tier, the expansion pack, have access to an ever-growing catalog of modern and classic games, including a small library of Nintendo 64 games. In December, that expansion pack is expanding a little more, as Jet Force Gemini is coming to the service. First released in 1999, Jet Force Gemini is a third-person shooter developed by Rare, the studio originally known for the Banjo-Kazooie games, but most recently known for Sea of Thieves. It's set on a sci-fi alien world where players blast through hordes of insect-like creatures. The most recent way players could experience the game on modern consoles was through Rare Replay, a compilation of classic Rare games released on the Xbox One in October for the Xbox One in 2015. For a refresher on the game, check out the 60-second rundown Rare put out a few years back. The Switch Online includes 26 other N64 games, including the recently added Excite Bike 64. It also includes Game Boy Advance games, Sega Genesis games, and DLC content for popular Switch titles like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and Animal Crossing. So, did you ever play Jet Force Gemini when you were on the during the N64 days?
Unfortunately, I never even heard of it until now today. And I checked.
Really? Wow.
I watched the trailer earlier today on YouTube, and it was pretty interesting that I missed on this game back when I was a child. And I'm like, wow, this looks good. It was just as good as like playing the RPG or even Star Fox 64 for the Super Nintendo, the N64 and all. So it's kind of like, wow, I missed on this game specifically, and I never heard of it on TV until, like I said, today. So at all, it was pretty interesting. All the graphics. I mean, yes, it had the frame was freezing on the N64 version, but that's normal for most N64 games and such back then. It was technology and all. Because they will push limits in this game just by looking at the trailer of Jet Force Gemini. So it looks good. Hopefully one day I will want to own it, a copy of it at least, if I can find it for use for a few bucks,
Yeah, let me go to price chart and see how much it is for current. It goes for currently on the Nintendo 64.
Sure,
because that's probably the only way I'd play it. Sure, yeah, you can get a loose copy for like $13.
Oh, that's bad. Very good.
So not bad at all, really.
Nice.
yeah. So it's not an expensive game. It's not a game that's going to make you break the bank if you go after it.
Yeah.
But if you do subscribe to Switch Online's most expensive tier, you'll have access to this game, and you won't have to buy the N64 card.
Mm-hmm.
Ready to move on?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Next. Hold on, let me turn this on so people can see the article, just in case they want to follow along. Dragon's Dogma 2 gets March release date and new trailer. Capcom held a new showcase for Dragon Dogma 2, showing off more of the game's fantastical action, but giving fans the one thing they've wanted most, a release date. The hotly anticipated sequel is coming on March 22nd. If that date looks familiar, that's because it was accidentally leaked, not once, but twice. The first instance occurred earlier this month thanks to a PEGI rating that revealed the March 22nd date. The second leak occurred just hours before today's presentation, courtesy of the game's Steam page. But if you missed both early reveals, today is probably a nice surprise. A new trailer shows off more of the game story while also offering up new gameplay footage. The trailer showcases the new Trickster location, alongside new enemies such as the towering statue, mythical beast, and naturally dragons. Dragon's Dogma 2 is launching on PS5, Xbox Series, and PC. Should I play the trailer?
It's up to you if you want. I saw the trailer earlier.
Okay, I didn't, so I'll play it.
Yeah, sure. It looks good, I have to say.
I'm lost! The bell is tolled on the age of the console.
Good.
Yeah, I also saw Dragon's Dogma, the first one from 2012 and all. That looked just as good too. Because the second one was much better, though. This just based on the trailers. So.
Yeah, I never got far in the first Dragon's Dogma, but I mean, this makes me want to give the predecessor. I mean, I can't give this one a chance because it's only for PS5, Xbox Series, and PC. But that trailer makes me want to give the first one another chance.
Yeah, the actual Xbox 360 though for the play because it's not backwards compatible. I found out.
Oh, okay.
The first Dragon's Dogma. That is.
Is the first Dragon's Dogma available on PS3?
It should be, yeah.
Okay, because my 360 is still temperamental, but I barely use it. So
Yeah, I did a little research of Dragon's Dogma's series of games, so it's only so far two of them came out, and I'm very surprised that I lost track of or barely heard anything about the first Dragon's Dogma. So
right, yeah. I mean,
because
there
they're the
wasn't this much
people,
about the first one.
yeah, because they're the people, the Dragon's Dogma games, they're the people behind Devil May Cry 4, Devil May Cry 3, and as well as I believe some other game. I forget what's it called. It's like, definitely not Grand Theft Auto. It's definitely Devil May Cry. Definitely those games. They into all that and to make those games. So yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, this game definitely looks awesome. If you do have a PS5, Xbox Series, or gaming PC that's capable, um, this definitely looks like a great game to try out. And it's
Indeed.
coming out. And it's coming out March 24th of
Indeed.
2024. So
Oh yeah.
just a few months away.
Definitely.
Anything else to add, or ready to move on?
I'm ready to move on.
All right. Next, this is one I'm going to have a lot to talk about. This next one,
Hmm.
Eminem is coming to Fortnite. One of the first ways Fortnite was able to prove its mainstream success was by introducing popular real-world people into the game. Whether it's Travis Scott, LeBron James, or Patrick Mahomes, it's become a sort of Hollywood star fame to be featured in Epic Games' hit shooter. Today, Marshall Mathers joins the club. Eminem is coming to Fortnite. Hollywood star of fame? Well, I'll have something to say about that. Just hold on. The Grammy winner will be added to the game's item shop on November 29th. The image above shows the three versions of the rapper that will be available for purchase. From left to right, Eminem, like wearing like a black sweater with a white t-shirt, is Rap Boy. Slim Shady is Eminem with like goatee and mustache and wearing like looking like a Chicago gangster from the 30s or 40s. And Marshall Nevermore is Eminem wearing a jacket with the Rap Boy logo from the Without Me song. And he's wearing the Robin mask from Batman, that just goes over the eyes. Um, the release comes a few days ahead of Fortnite's Big Bang event, which is set to happen on December 2nd at 2 p.m. Eastern. Alongside whatever world-altering event phenomenon Epic plans to introduce, Eminem will be performing a live concert. Attendees will receive the Big Bang loading screen featured in the head of this article. Fortnite has been getting in gaming news a lot recently thanks to the rollout of Fortnite OG, a record-setting new season that throws players back in time to the earliest maps in the game. It's also under fire for new rules about which skins are allowed to create, which skins are allowed in certain creator-made worlds. You can see their response to the controversy here. It says, "What's your dream Fortnite collaboration?" Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
Yeah, you go first, about it, please.
Okay.
This
Um,
used to be a big fan of Eminem back in the past.
yeah. And that's actually what I was going to bring up. If this was happening like 20 years ago, then I could see. And I know Fortnite wasn't around 20 years ago. I'm just saying. If
Yeah.
if Eminem was as popular now as he was 20 years ago, I'm talking the Eminem Show, 8 Mile, and the Encore era, then I could understand it. Now this is just like when WCW in the late '90s would hire any wrestler that happened to wrestle on WWF Superstars in a squash match, just trying to get some of that notoriety. That's what I feel like Fortnite's doing.
Yeah. They buy all sorts
I
of
mean,
IPs.
I did a little research on Eminem's album sales from beginning to end. Do you know the last two CDs to hit over 10 million and 10 million sales? What his last two CDs were?
Really?
Do you know what they are?
Kamikaze, I think, is one of them, the most recent.
No, there's actually one after that, but that didn't hit 10 million.
Oh, yeah, that horrible album that he collaborated with other rappers and shit. That was horrible.
Yeah, no, that's the last two CDs of his to hit 10 million in sales was Encore and Recovery.
Okay.
He has had 3 CDs. He had Kamikaze. Before that, he had the Marshall Mathers LP2. And just recently, or his most recent album in 2020 was, I think, Music is Murder or something.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and none of them have hit 10 million. And you're probably wondering, well, why is 10 million the benchmark, not 1 million? Because that's what's when he was released the Slim Shady LP, the first Marshall Mathers LP, the Eminem Show, the Encore, and Encore. It was he was hitting that 10 million mark like it was nothing, like it was a low bar for him. That's
Yeah.
why I'm saying. But like Kamikaze and like the Marshall Mathers LP, they sold off. I don't even think they hit 1 million.
Mm-hmm.
So at his latest CD, the one in 2020, did hit just 1 million in the U.S. But like I'm saying, this is you're not getting 2005 or 2003 or 2007 Eminem here. You're getting 2023 when much of his notoriety, and you can challenge me on this if you want to, much of his notoriety is not there anymore.
His essence is not
You
there
know,
either as it used to be 10 years ago.
or especially 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, Recovery was pretty good. I purchased that. Like, I don't know if I purchased it the year it came out. I just saw it in a CD store on a lunch break one time, and I purchased it, and I was happy to, because this was still like 2012.
Right.
But yeah, so that. But like I'm saying, he's not the big star or the big cultural icon that he used to be. I mean, look at 50 Cent. 50 Cent was in video games, and honestly, that was the first video game Eminem was in, was 50 Cent's first game, Bulletproof.
Yeah.
Um, 50 Cent Bulletproof came out, I think, the same year as his CD, The Massacre, so 2005. Eminem played a corrupt cop in 50 Cent Bulletproof. Um, and, think about it, 2005, The Massacre. That was one of 50 Cent's, or maybe 50 Cent's best. Get Rich or Die Trying sold more, but The Massacre still sold over 5 million copies. So, it's not like 50 Cent's popularity in the music world wasn't there in 2005. But then by the time 50 Cent Blood on the Sand came out, they weren't banking on his notoriety, because I think his last CD was 50 Cent CD was Curtis, which was like after the Massacre in 2007.
I see.
Now, Blood on the Sand, despite its story, because they didn't like the crystallized skull being 50 Cent trying to get it back because it was worth a lot of money. But despite the story or how you felt about the gameplay, it was a good game. It was a fun game. I had fun playing all the way through it. Bulletproof, on the other hand, the hit detection with the bullets was a real problem.
Yeah.
So, but again, Bulletproof came out when 50 Cent was at the height of his popularity, or at least at the tail end of the height of his popularity. But Eminem's been more or less obscure. I mean, he hasn't released a CD in 3 years, so.
And also the fact that it was anti-Trump, that also kind of helped him out at first, but it got rid of some of his essential fans, like you, for example, Triple J. Like,
Yeah.
you used to look up to Eminem like he's the best rapper ever of his time, and I agree with you. He's one of the best rappers of in rap in history, if ever. It's it sucks that you like gave up on him after he fucked up on fucking around with Trump and all. As far as like degrade and try to degrade Trump through his raps and all, which is kind of like I mean, Ice Cube did the same with Donald Trump as well, with Arrest the President track album. Or track on iTunes and all. I listened to the other how many times so far, and it sounds like it's a political message, but most raps can be political at times, so it's whatever. But it sucks that Eminem just doesn't. He's just not. He's not the same Eminem we grew up with back 20 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. He's not the same that person that we grew up with. And look, if he reconnected with his mother and he had to get off, if he basically had to give up Slim Shady, that's fine. But I'd like to go back to, say the Marshall Mathers LP days or the Eminem Show days. The same people that were defending Eminem then were defending Trump during his presidency or now, and Eminem is basically now siding with the same people that were trying to cancel him 20 years ago.
Yeah.
That's what doesn't make sense.
Before cancel culture was cancel culture.
Music. What was it? I think one picket sign was "Hate set to a groove is still hate." That was one of the picket signs protesting Eminem, and it's like all these people that stood up for you, and now because your career is basically over, you don't have the notoriety or the selling power that you once did. Now you're siding with the same people that would have canceled you 20 years ago if they had been around.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so who really changed? Is my point. And I'm just saying, Fortnite. Okay, who? I mean, think about it. The average person that plays Fortnite's like what, 10, 11, 12? Am I right? Am I right to assume that?
At best, 14. Yeah, we'll push the boundaries after 14.
Okay, so let's say 14 or younger. So that's like 2009, born in 2009. Who's really going to know Eminem? Yeah, that's after Eminem's popularity started to decrease. The only CD released after 2009 was Recovery. How many of these fans that play Fortnite are going to really know Eminem, are really going to care about Eminem being in the shop of Fortnite?
Yeah. What's going to happen, Triple J, is that they're going to think that Eminem is part of Fortnite, the Fortnite lore, not part of the rapping culture back 20 years ago. That's the first thing that comes to mind.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I'm not even sure he's going to be a big seller because, like I said, this isn't 20 years ago. And the people that play Fortnite, Fortnite was dominated by 30 and 40-year-olds, different story. But that's not the age group of the normal Fortnite player.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, if people young kids, 6, 7, 8, 9, are playing Fortnite and they see Eminem, they're probably going to go to their parents, "Daddy, who is this? Is this guy made up? He looks cool, but So that's just my reaction. It's kind of like it's what next? You gonna put Hulk Hogan in Fortnite? Are you gonna put the Beatles or Kiss in Fortnite?
Oh, that would be cool. The Kiss in Fortnite. I want to rock and roll all night and party every day. That would be cool right there to see that in Fortnite. I want to play that game after that. Kissing Fortnite. Oh my god. And then the rock side, the horns and shit, the tongue movement. And the fucking guitar is this weapon to use for sound effects and shit, like ding, 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 and shotgun shit or whatever,
I mean, because kids will have no idea who Kiss is.
I wouldn't know what Kiss is.
But you might as well if you're going to go after Eminem, you might as well get people like Kiss and the Beatles in Fortnite.
They'll also put like Frozen characters or Disney characters in Fortnite while they had it too. Oh man.
Yeah, so that was the point I was making. It's like way too late, and I just don't see how many people are really how many of the core fan base of Fortnite is really gonna care.
Yeah.
Anything else to add, or ready to move on?
I'm ready to move on.
All right. Told you I had a lot to say about that one.
Oh yeah.
Simpsons Hit and Run 2 would have added planes, but the publisher passed. After the first game was mega successful, Fox wanted more, but Vivendi wasn't interested. The original Simpsons Hit and Run, released 20 years ago in 2003, ended up being a massive hit and sold millions of copies, so a sequel featuring planes was planned. But then the publisher shocked everyone when it passed on a sweetheart deal to create more Hit and Run games. Developed by Radical Entertainment and published by Vivendi, The Simpsons Hit and Run was a semi-open-world GTA-like video game starring the popular Simpsons family and a host of other characters from the long-running animated show. It was released to positive reviews in September 2003 on PS2, GameCube, and Xbox. It also sold incredibly well, was beloved by fans, and had a development team that was excited to create more. And Fox, as well as the folks behind The Simpsons, wanted more and offered a deal to Vivendi um, that would have led to potentially 5 more sequels, but the publisher passed, according to folks who worked on the game. In a new video interview from MinMax, 6 of the original developers and producers who worked on Hit and Run sat down to provide an oral history of how the popular game came to be. During the discussion, executive producer John Melchior, who worked with Fox, explained that the sequel was a no-brainer for everyone involved. According to McCoy and the others, while the original Hit and Run only featured cars and trucks, the planned sequel would have featured blimps, airships, and planes. We had lots to go on The Simpsons Hit and Run. This was going to be a franchise, no doubt in anybody's mind, McCoy said. Hit and Run programmers Carrie Brisbois and Greg Mayer further revealed that work was being done on a towing mechanic that would have let players drag around wagons and trailers behind cars. Sadly for fans of Hit and Run, Vivendi passed on the deal. McCoy claimed the 5-game deal would have cost the publisher the same or less than it paid for The Simpsons license for just Hit and Run. He explained that the deal was so good because everyone at Fox and The Simpsons TV show was impressed by Hit and Run and wanted more. But because Vivendi passed on it, EA swooped in and bought the license to produce its own Simpsons games. Of course, a sequel seems unlikely now, but all the folks involved in the game's creation would have loved to see a remake. In fact, during the interview, they all expressed admiration for YouTuber Reob's UE5 remake, with one developer saying that Disney, who now owns Fox, should just release that fun game as it's better than what they made. That probably won't happen. According to Melchior, a remake would have to involve both Disney and Activision, who owns the original game code, so don't hold your breath for a new Hit and Run game anytime soon. Or do. But before you pass out while waiting for a sequel or remake, I'd recommend watching the full MinMax history interview, as it reveals more information about the game's development, including who added those cool holiday cheat codes, what Fox made them cut, how Simpsons writers tried to sneak in dirtier jokes than what the show would allow, and how we almost got a PSP port of the game. So, did you ever play the original Simpsons Hit and Run game?
I've heard good things about the game of the original Hit and Run game, yeah. But I never played it necessarily. I don't remember. It's been like, 20 years now that it came out so far. Remember correctly?
Right.
So I can't remember if I played it even for 5 minutes. So can't say much about it. But I saw it on TV commercials plenty of times in the past. So it looked good. And I always wanted to get it. But I guess I lost track of time. And 20 years later, I forgot about it. So I will admit that I never did necessarily.
Yeah, I never got the chance to play it either. I do remember Alex Navarro, who reviewed it. He was saying how they basically created the Simpsons town, because he said like Springfield is like twice the size of West Texas. He's like they kind of made it like into areas. Like one area was the Simpsons residential area, like that included the Simpsons house. One area was like commercialized, like the school and stuff, and then like one area was the docks where like Moe's Bar was and stuff like that. And it all worked out very well.
Don't forget the nuclear power plant too.
Yeah, so I mean I never got a chance to play it. Honestly, I'm wondering how much it would be now if you were to get a copy of the original.
Probably cost like $100 used easily. We're talking about PlayStation, right? PlayStation 1.
PS2, PS2, Xbox, and GameCube.
Yeah, that'll cost you a good $100.
Not really. GameCube costs $50 loose. PS2 costs $32 loose, and Xbox costs $26 loose.
That's okay. Well, never mind. I'm sorry. I was expecting like $100 because the game is that good. I hear back 20 years ago, and I always wanted to get a copy of it. But my mom obviously said I was too young to watch The Simpsons, American Dad, South Park, Family Guy. Like she really kept me like from all the disgusting material seen on TV. She told me based on what her standards are of watching TV. So, back then, of course, you remember our parents were like that, where they tell us, oh, you can't go to certain places at night, or go to certain towns or cities or whatever, outside of, Valley Stream or Queens, whatever. It depends on where you are, Because obviously,
Actually, it's funny. Talking about disgusting things, Beavis and Butthead. My mom said before she passed away that she kept me from watching it or tried to keep me from watching it. I'm like, really? Do you know how many episodes I saw as a kid? You didn't really do too good of a job because I don't even remember not being allowed to watch that when I was younger.
yeah, you all has to be a hobby for that matter.
South Park, which came out I think '97.
Mm-hmm.
That the only reason I didn't see that the earlier seasons is because it came on at 10 p.m. on Comedy Central, and that was the time I had to go to bed when they first came on. So but I ended up seeing a lot of episodes through reruns anyway. Family Guy came out '99. The Simpsons was like '89, I think, the first episode.
Yep. And if I recall correctly, what comes down to certain I know this may took me off topic partially, but because of wrestling lasts from 7 p.m., 8 p.m. until 10 p.m. So that was a perfect time to watch, that kind of content. But my mom didn't want me to watch that either. So it's like, she really kept me from a lot of, the degeneracy, she calls it, last time I checked. So it's kind of think her at first, but then later on it's like, wrestling, I still watch wrestling anyway. When she was like not well aware. So more power to me. I watch WCW every week, while she's like sleeping or away from the house, or whatever. So,
yeah, I mean, a lot of the stuff I missed out on. It was if it was like on like at 10 p.m. and like I had a strict bedtime at 10 p.m. when I was growing up. So, only during the week, Fridays and Saturdays, my mom sometimes didn't care.
Excuse me.
And then like when I got to like ninth or 10th grade, my mom stopped giving me a bedtime. She's like, if you go to school the next day, I don't care what time you go to bed.
Yeah. Our moms are pretty much give up after a certain age because obviously we're going to see the world the way it is, and that's a good thing after a while, More freedom to us guys, And I wish I could have started watching at least the WWE back in 97, 98 instead of the WCW. But at first, but it's good thing I did watch WCW because, because of WWE in libraries and stuff like that, you can watch it anytime on the internet. With WCW, it's kind of like a bit hit and miss because you got to search for that shit, WCW content. Of course, you can watch most of it on YouTube, but if you want to watch the full length, backstage brawls, everything, like every thing you saw on the TV, it's hard to do that in 30 years later, which is now. So,
Yeah, although I do remember like 10 years ago, you came over to my house. We were watching like an episode of Nitro from 1997. And I remember like whoever uploaded it to YouTube left the commercial for the all new AOL 6.0. And you and me were laughing like, damn, how obsolete is AOL 9.0, let alone 6.0?
Yeah, after 9.0, 10.0, that's when the internet just started turning to this not freeware, but free flow. Like, you don't need an actual disk or an actual downloadable program. Now everything's built in, the chips and all, in the computers and the Ethernet cord and stuff like that. So that's a good thing. So
yes, but I don't even remember there being a 10.0. I was waiting for the longest time. Like 9 came out, 10's got to come out sometime, and I just never heard about it.
Yeah, by the time when Verizon became Verizon, because Verizon was 9X and Bell something or Bell Dell or some. It was definitely 9X back in the 90s and late 80s and all. By the 2000s, it turned into Verizon, and then we had Verizon since 2004 for internet services.
Yeah.
So here
and to go back to The Simpsons, I know a lot of people are not happy with The Simpsons now, with the direction of The Simpsons, especially Homer's not going to be allowed to choke Bart anymore. I actually heard someone actually came up with a way to end The Simpsons. Did you hear about this? It was just an idea, but it was pitched actually to writers. Did you ever hear the idea? What one idea suggested was to end The Simpsons?
It was I don't know that exact specific thing, but I remember that Bart posted out stop being choked by Simpson by Homer
Well,
Simpson.
that
I heard about that
Homer
one.
now likes to cook Bart. That's kind of new, but years ago I heard someone suggested a way to end The Simpsons. Just have like The Simpsons being chased, and like they go through the store, and like on the other side of the door is like the 1989 Christmas party, which was the first episode.
Yeah.
That way, the series just goes on in like a whole loop.
Okay. Now that'd be interesting,
Because I
right
think,
there.
yeah, because I think Bret Hart was even on The Simpsons at one time.
At least once, yes.
Yeah. But
Wow.
anyway, yeah. So The Simpsons hit and run. It's most likely not going to happen sequel wise. Um, you can still get it for relatively cheap on well, at least for PS2 and Xbox. GameCube will run a little more. But it's still under $60, like regardless what system you choose. It almost came out on PSP, would have had sequels, but the publisher for some reason didn't want to do it.
And it went out of business, right?
No, it's just the license went to someone else.
Oh. Do you know who has license now? Or what company?
I think they said EA.
EA.
Yeah,
Oh, that's not good. I mean,
yeah.
at first it was good 20 years ago, but now it's like 20 years later. It's like, yeah, that's like toxic right there, almost near toxic.
Not, not to mention if they were going to make a sequel, Activision has the right to the hit and run game code. So EA would have to do business with Activision slash Microsoft for there to even be a sequel possible.
So Microsoft, Activision, and EA have to come together to make this sequel happen.
Yeah,
Interesting. Okay, well, they have to come together one day for the Xbox Series X and S. Exclusive to that system.
right.
I mean, that could sell millions upon millions, but a million first million copies within a month or something. That'll be like a great feat, a great gesture to the company itself of Microsoft. Because even though Phil Spencer admitted defeated about the Series X and S is game selling and stuff like that, he literally said that not live, but in a podcast or two, and it was like he gave up and it literally directly in front of us. And if you really want to redeem himself, make this Simpsons game come true before the end of the cycle of Xbox Series X and S. You know.
Yeah, yeah. But anyway, if you never played the original, try out the original. I will probably be trying it out because I'm going to be stocking up on retro games in 2024. That's at least my plan. Um, but that's all I have to say. Ready to move on?
Yeah, let's move on. Good stuff.
All right, this is gonna be a short episode because we only got 3 more stories left.
Yeah, that was good with the Simpsons and all.
Yeah, PlayStation Plus free games for December 2023 revealed. You can clean up some grime, explore stylish desert wastelands, and build some incredible Lego with next month's PlayStation Plus games. PlayStation has revealed the next batch of free games for PlayStation Plus subscribers. December's PlayStation Plus lineup include Lego 2K Drive, Power Wash Simulator, and Sable. All 3 freebies will be available to claim starting December 5th. Released in May this year, Lego 2K Drive is a pretty fun mix of the popular building blocks and all-out racing. Forza Horizon mixed with a do-it-yourself approach to assembling a collection of vehicles. Lego 2K Drive is set in the world of Bricklandia and challenges you to race against several rivals in an effort to win the coveted Sky Trophy. You won't just be burning rubber on the tarmac in this game, as you can also show off your skills on off-road terrain and open waters with your custom creation. Do you prefer something more meditative or more meditative? Power Wash Simulator is just the game for you, as you'll be cleaning up your neighborhood with an exotic selection of high-pressure water hose nozzles and cleaning agents. Clean up well, get filthy rich, and spend your cash on equipment to make the job that much more efficient. Even better, Power Wash Simulator has several expansions that are sold separately, so if you've ever wanted to visit Bikini Bottom or Midgar, you can prepare for a hose down in SpongeBob SquarePants and Final Fantasy VII. Lastly,
Midgar?
Sable... Huh?
Midgar? Wow. Final Fantasy VII right there.
Yeah. Well, there are several expansions that are sold separately. So this,
Okay.
I'm guessing, like DLC or.
Okay. Sorry, go on ahead.
Lastly, Sable is another perfect game to try out when you're looking for a more chilled experience. It's a game focused on the art of exploration as you guide the titular Sable through her gliding of light of passage spread across vast deserts and aesthetically pleasing landscapes. Hop on Sable's hoverbike, twist the throttle, and immerse yourself in a world that is enhanced by its unique art style and an original soundtrack by Japanese Breakfast. As a reminder, November PlayStation Plus free games will be available until December 4th. Before it's too late, don't forget to grab Dragon Ball, The Breakers, Aliens Fire Team Elite, and Mafia 2 Definitive Edition. So, do any of these games that I described, are you interested in any of them?
Well, the
That's
power.
again
Well,
Lego 2K Drive, Power Wash Simulator, and Sable.
the Lego thing, the 2K Drive thing, like if it's a driving game, I want to try that out. Now, as
It's a
far as
racing game.
okay, all right. Now with this Power Wash Simulator, it sounds mundane and boring at first, but if you want to include Final Fantasy 7 and Big Gar and all, I mean, let's try it out.
If you're willing to pay the extra money for the Midgar expansion,
How much is the Big Gar expansion, if you know, or any
it
expansion?
didn't say.
Okay, if it's like $20 more for all 4 or 5 bundles, why not? But if it's like $3, $5, why not buy the expansion? But obviously, most expansions from the '90s and all, before it was ever on digitized, you had to spend like at least $10, $15 for the expansion on the disc and all. So if it's $10, 15 at most, why not buy the bigger expansion for the Power Wash Simulator? Even if it does sound mundane and boring to do, power wash it in a video game.
Right.
See if you see Cloud and Tifa with her big tatas and all. It's do wet T-shirt contests. Like you see in the back in the day with wrestling. James.
No comment.
Yeah, back to those who are not well aware, there were wet T-shirt contests in wrestling shows on TV and all. It was pretty interesting. It had Terry, it had Trish
They're not going to
Stratus.
have that in Power Wash Simulator. I assure you.
I know it's a dream come true for me. I'm now turning into a Jerry the King Lawler now. He's like, look, JR, puppies. And I'm like, ooh, look, James, puppies. Power Wash Simulator, it's nice.
Well, it
Hubba.
probably would definitely spice up the game. I mean,
Yes. Rated M for mature for the expansion pack, That would be cool right there. All one interaction, not ever rated by the ESRB, including with Tifa and Trish Stratus.
yeah.
Imagine Trish Stratus in the Power Wash Simulator, part of a wet T-shirt contest. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Well, hey, she still looks great today. So
Oh yeah, I saw her wrestling the other week or two. No, it was a paper. It was a pay per view. I think I saw her on a wrestling event on DVD. I think I bought it the other year or two, if I recall
no,
correctly.
she wrestled this year. She came back for like a 6 month program, or like a 3 month program or 6 month program this year,
Okay, so
2023.
I saw her. I saw a recording of it online somewhere. I forgot what if it was WWE.com or YouTube.com. And I saw her wrestle. I was like, wow, she's still in good shape to do wrestling. So more power to her.
Yeah, if she wants to come back full time, she probably could.
Yeah, she got another 10 years. Say she want to push it the limits.
Yeah.
Lita too. I think Lita came back to wrestling as well too the other month or
Yep,
two.
she came back this year also for a short program.
Yeah, both look good.
Yeah.
Still look good. So
Anything to say about the game called Sable?
Sable. Obviously, we're not talking about the wrestler Sable from the '90s.
Right.
Obviously.
Yes.
You see where my mind is going lately.
Yes.
I'm sorry, guys. I know I'm sound weird for saying this, but back in the day, children, there was these wrestling shows with different games and events, and from wet T-shirts to belt bras and panties and bedroom matches. It was a different time for us men back then, my friends. So, more power to us. So, yeah.
Reminds me of a story. Reminds me of a story we heard early in the podcast life cycle, like in the first year. One guy he got the SmackDown versus Raw game. I forget which year it was, but his parents were not really too kind about WWE games because
Right.
it's not real wrestling. It's fake and all that, and it's not amateur wrestling, like because amateur wrestling is real.
Yes.
Uh, so the guy who showed off the game picked two wrestlers that had amateur wrestling backgrounds, and he's like, "See, they do wrestle. Look!" And he put on like an actual wrestling match, and his parents were like, "Okay, we saw it. You showed it to us. There is wrestling in the game, so I guess we can let you keep it." So that kid comes home from school one day, and his father's home, and his father's not too happy. So his father tells his son to follow him. Inside the kid's room is the game set up on a bra and panties match
Yeah.
or a fulfill your fantasy match. I forget which. I think it was bra and panties. I think like the father made his kid either give the game back to his friend or whatever.
Yeah, at least he had the
I just remember that.
experience.
Huh?
At least he had the experience in watching those shows. So
Yeah. So anyway, you going on about wet T-shirt contests and stuff. Maybe remember that story that we covered like in the first year of this podcast.
okay. I'm sorry, yes, for either repeating myself or reminiscing the past too much as quite some time now. So,
Ready to move on?
oh yes, let's move on, please, before I get very fainted from all the power washing.
I can't believe you went on that much about Power Wash Simulator.
Yes.
Next, Sony fails to kill $7.9 billion lawsuit over PlayStation Store prices. The lawsuit accuses the PS5 maker of ripping players off. A lawsuit filed last year accused Sony of using its Wallet Garden video game platform to charge players too much in the PlayStation Store. The London tribunal has now allowed that lawsuit to move forward against the PS5's maker's objections, which could result in payments to players in the UK of up to $7.9 billion if it's ultimately successful. The case began last August and basically claimed that anti-competitive practices by Sony allowed it to get away with charging a 30% commission on all sales in the PlayStation Store rather than charging a smaller amount and passing the savings on to consumers. Sony tried to get the case dismissed, but today the Competition Appeal Tribunal sided against the platform holder, saying it failed to establish that the complaint had no reasonable grounds for making the claims, no real prospect of succeeding a trial. This case, brought by the consumer advocate Alex Neil, will now proceed with the two sides arguing on its merits. To be clear, Sony isn't accused of doing anything unusual here, like manipulating prices in secret. What the lawsuit is taking issue with is the same thing every non-gaming platform does, charging fees while blocking out competition. The lawsuit claims that by failing to allow third parties to sell directly on the PlayStation Store, it's limiting competition and driving up prices for players. We've heard a version of these complaints in the U.S. with the Epic versus Apple lawsuit and the current Epic versus Google court trial. The Fortnite company accused the App Store and Google Play Store of charging exorbitant commissions to anyone else who wants to do business on the platforms. Imagine the potential issues, for instance, if your PC could only install Steam and Valve Storefront was the only way to access games on it. Those arguments haven't fared so well so far in the U.S. We'll see if the Sony lawsuit in the U.K. goes any differently. So what do you think of this lawsuit? Are you surprised that it's heading to court? Do you care at all?
Well, it serves. I would say I sound like being very cruel to Sony, but it serves them right because I've been hearing for not literally decades, but in recent time, Sony's been very shady with deals going on with different partners and game companies and other corporate entities for good 20, 30 years almost. So it catched up to them after all these years and decades now. So now they have to pay the price with them being, anti-consumer or anti-business or very a cutthroat or a backstab with their other partners and entities that they work with. So more power to the consumer now because now if they can put this lawsuit into play, Sony has to make sure to pay back customers if it is related, that is, to pay back the customers for all the shady deals that's going on for this year and all with deleted stuff from the library of their storefronts online and all. So if they could try to put that into play over the next few months, hopefully by 2 years from now, at the most, Sony has to pay back people their deleted content that they delete off the storefront. So if it's related, that is, to his lawsuit, hopefully that is.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah. So that's and this is really a problem with an all digital future. I don't know if I agree with Review Tech USA. He said it's already here. I don't think it's here yet. At least not completely.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the problem with an all digital future. If you want to buy games for PlayStation or Xbox or Switch, and digital is the only way to do it, these storefronts are the only stores that. If these if these digital stores are the only way to get games, they can charge basically almost whatever they want.
Oh yeah.
And that's going to be a problem. You think $70 games are bad? Wait till Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft gets to determine the prices what they sell it for on their consoles.
Definitely.
This might be a wrinkle in that plan if it's successful. But yeah, they were charging exorbitant fees to anyone else who wanted to sell on this on the PlayStation Store. So, maybe it's a good thing, but this is also a problem. Should gaming become entirely digital in 5 or 10 years?
Hopefully, it will be a lot longer than 10 years for it to be completely transferable to digital only. Because I really like to still have physical media whenever I can. Because one day I do want to go back to my games that I haven't played in decades or years, of this technology in today's world, for the Xbox One, for the Xbox 360, and so on and so forth, maybe for PS3 and PS4. Because
not so much PS4 and Xbox One, because even if it's digital, it's, keep in mind, it's like the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5 example, how the disc just had the Park editor, and you had to download the entire game, even if you bought it physically. But like games, like I'd say PS3, 360, Wii U, and anything further back, especially further back, that's going to be what you're probably going to want to do if you want to get games that you haven't played, that you never tried out before. That's going to that you never got to try out before. That you won't have to worry about getting the updates for the game to be operational, because once a game's servers are down, they're down.
Yeah.
Or taken offline for good, they're not coming back. And if you don't have the game in its full form up with updates by the time those servers go down, you're screwed. I mean, that's what they're doing with the WWE games now. WWE games aren't even online for 2 full years after release.
Yeah. Say with sports games as well too, with NHL, and NFL, and NBA, like every year, not even 2 years later, for the after to be just a cycle of each game, like I said, lasts for 2 years, 3 years at the most, online that is. So.
Yeah. So I mean, and that's the thing, it should be where so like if you're gonna that's gonna be a problem, because say 5-10 years from now, anyone who gets a PS4 or original Xbox One, if they get a game like a sports game, that update might not be there, and the game might not be playable with that without that update.
Yeah.
So that's again another reason I'm going to go back to retro in 2024. I'm still going to be playing games on my Xbox One, Middle Earth, Shadow War, and um, Yakuza Like a Dragon when I get copies of those games. I actually forgot about Shadow War before I read it about it. But yeah, other than that, I'm gonna go back to retro Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, all the way up to PlayStation 2, Xbox, GameCube, and even Wii U because the Wii U plays Wii and Wii U games.
Yeah.
Um, before they started saying release it now, we'll patch it later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Ready for the final story tonight?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Next or last, physical game, and this is actually what we were talking about before, so it's probably going to continue our conversation. Physical games have now fallen below subscriptions and virtual currency on Christmas list. Only 22% of U.S. children wanted physical games. Just as physical games overcame toys at the top of Christmas list, physical video games have now fallen away to virtual currency and gaming subscriptions like PlayStation Plus, Xbox Game Pass, and Nintendo Switch Online. As reported by GI.biz, the Entertainment Software Association found that 72% of U.S. children aged 10 to 17 wanted video game related products for Christmas, but of them, only a small fraction actually wanted physical games. Subscriptions set at the top spot on Letters to Santa with 39% of children wanting them. Consoles followed at 38%, accessories at 32%, and in game currency at 29%. The least popular option was the aforementioned physical games, which sat at 22%. Video game related products were the most popular Christmas gifts, period, though, with its 72% even overcoming money and gift cards at 70%. Clothes and accessories came in at 66%. Electronics and tech at 62%. Physical toys and games at 38%. Tickets and experiences at 32%. Arts and crafts at 28%, and books at 26%. The ESA offered some insight in its report, which surveyed more than 500 children and more than 500 adults. For the latter category, it found that 1 in 3 plan to buy video games for themselves or others, and 57% of parents considered buying video game products for their children. More than 212 more than 212 million Americans play video games regularly, so it comes as no surprise that games are at the top of this year's wish list, said ESA President and CEO Stanley Pierre Lewis. Whether a family is getting a new console, updating the controllers and headsets, or adding to their library new games and expansion packs, we know video games are a great tool for families to play together and connect during the holiday season and beyond. The shift to digital won't necessarily come as a surprise to many, as digital sales accounted for an estimated 90% of games sold in the UK in 2022. Similar trends are occurring around the world as the convenience of digital downloads and preloading are overcoming physical discs. Even major releases like Baldur's Gate 3 and Alan Wake 2 have launched as digital-only products. That's the reason I won't be trying Alan Wake 2. Street Fighter and Resident Evil publisher Capcom also said back in 2020 that 80% of the sales were digital, while later that year, Cyberpunk 2077 reportedly saw the biggest digital launch of all time. Um, yeah, so what do you think of this?
Hmm.
Someone top comment by Optimist said, and there it is. The argument could stop now because you can't stop the future. Now this generation wants to just stream. I'm all for digital, but I'm not for just streaming. Then you'll definitely own nothing. Physical just doesn't make sense anymore, especially when it comes to games. Even when you buy a physical years from now, you would have a vanilla copy because all the updates come through digital. All the add-ons come through as digital, so I agree with going digital. Also because I stopped supporting places like GameStop eons ago.
Yeah, I mean, digital is the way to go for the future. We hear it for years now, but there's still lingering of people want to play physical games too. I myself, like I said, I don't mind having physical games every now and then. I still have my own physical library of games for the PlayStation 2, obviously, N64, Dreamcast, PS1, PS2, and all. But it's for the ones beyond Xbox 360, Xbox One, PS3, PS4, and all. That's like, depends on how you look at it. Like, for example, who's going to run the servers after the company runs out of business? So it's kind of like, that's a disadvantage of digital games because once those digital games are no longer able to download again constantly on a constant basis, then you have to really be putting your games on backup mode and everything else. You got to copy and transfer and copy and so on and so forth. And it's like, it's like a irredeemable, never-ending task. You want to back up your content all after the companies went out of business, or even the system itself went out of service for online services. That is to keep, maintaining the game servers or the game itself. So it's an iffy. It's like a half and half, or here and there, hit and miss. What do you want to do with the digital?
Yeah, that's why I'm going to go back. Like I said, to retro. I actually came up with a way to discover new games. I'm probably going to go after ones I know I want that I don't have right now. Um, Whether I sold them or before I finished them or whatever. But I found a new way to discover new games. What I did was, and I just tested this out. I went to eBay.com. I went to Video Game Lot. That's what I typed in the search bar, and up came a PS2 game or a PS2 game um, bundle, a collection of PS2 games being sold. And the first game was 007 Agent Under Fire for PlayStation 2. So what I did, I looked up the review. I found a like an IGN review or like a YouTuber review of it. Looked pretty good. Looks the only complaint was that the game was really short in the single player campaign. But other than that, I looked up on Google Shopping and I'm like, Agent Under Fire, I can get that on PS2 for less than $5, or at least less than $5 before shipping. It was like $4.50. It's like $4.50 probably plus shipping. I could buy that game. Hey, it's a new experience that I never even knew was out until I started searching for it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to be doing for after I get the games that I know that I want. I'm going to be searching for new ones by basically seeing what's available on eBay through a game lot, pull up a review of a specific game or the first game I see, and if the reviews are good or at least decent, then I'll order the game as cheap as I can on eBay.
Oh yeah.
So, um, yeah, so it's not hard. I mean, because everyone says, well, yeah, you can go and get the games that you never knew of, that you never got to try, but once you eliminate the games that you did play, the ones that are priced out of affordability, what's left after you get those games that you can afford that you never got to play? What's next?
Yeah.
How you're going to find out? You can look up the NAS library, the 700 or 800 games, but not all of them are great. Some of them are terrible. That's how I'm going to do it.
Definitely.
Look up a game lot, first collection that I see, get one first game that I can choose, and be like, okay, 007 Agent Under Fire. Pull up a review. Okay, looks good. It's a short campaign though, 3 or 4 hours. Some people say, but for $4.50 and after shipping, it's still less than $10. Why not?
Yeah, why not eat shit, man?
So and that's basically how I'm going to look for all games, not just PS2 game. I mean, I saw it for GameCube. It was like double the price. I was like, yeah, I think I'll just settle for the PS2 version then. And that's what I'm going to do for all systems, not just PS2, GameCube, and Xbox. Original PlayStation, which I play on PlayStation 2, N64, Sega CD, Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo, GameCube, if anything's affordable on GameCube, regular Nintendo, all that. So that's how I'm going to try to see what I missed in digital, because a lot of these games, especially PS2 era or before, or PS3 360 era or before, there's going to be someone who made a review of those games.
At least one review per game for the last several years. Like even the Angry Video Game Nerd is still making reviews on certain games that from the past, from like 30, 40 years ago. That's interesting that you still
Mm.
looking through those libraries from Super Nintendo, Nintendo, Genesis, Atari, even perhaps even ColecoVision, if ever. So more
No,
power
I
to them.
wouldn't go that far, but anything like Nintendo or further forward to like the PS3, 360, Wii era, Wii U era, yeah, why not?
Yeah, Aggravating Nerd is
And
very good at in library and his content to the point where you always look towards him and his other networks of friends to find those older games and then still we get to find those reviews to see if it's good or not and to see what
yeah,
it's worth spending $5 for a game or even up to $500 for a used copy like Ocarina of Time or some shit like that. It depends on who you look towards
Ocarina of Time is not that much.
or whatever the most expensive game out there, like Mother 2 or Earthbound, whatever it's
The
called.
most expensive game is like I think Nintendo World Championships Gold cartridge
Okay,
because there was like less than 100 of them.
right. Oh wow, really?
Wait,
Wow.
yeah, because they were just a giveaway prize. Um, and if you weren't, if you weren't one of the ones who won the giveaway, you never got it unless you had the money that like James Rolfe or Pat the NES Punk or someone else like that had, and actually spent the thousands of dollars to get those games.
Right.
But like I'm saying, yeah, the NES library has. Actually, I'll bring up my own example. Because growing up, I had a Super Nintendo, a Sega Genesis, and a Sega CD. But even as a kid, like I had maybe like 30 games for the Super Nintendo, about 10 for the Genesis, and maybe like 5 for the Sega CD.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that many other games other than the ones that would probably be a lot, like Snatcher and Night Trap on Sega CD go for a lot. But if I find a Sega CD game lot, I might find other games that I've never got to play that are actually quite good.
Oh yeah.
Especially for the Genesis and Sega CD, because most games like if it was multi-console, Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis back in the day, I was usually getting the Super Nintendo version,
Yeah.
just because that was the console I had first. So Sega Genesis was kind of like this for the Genesis exclusives, the Sonic games, which I want to get again.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Sonic 2 is probably cheap as dirt. Uh, um, what else? Toe Jam and Earl and Panic on Funkatron was exclusive as far as I know, because Toe Jam and Earl are Sega properties, at least at the time.
How about Earthworm Jim?
Um,
Those I bet those are hard to find after a while.
I don't think the first Earthworm Jim is too hard to find. I think you could probably find it for really cheap. Uh, since this is the last topic we had, why not search for it?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Because I have
Um,
Earthworm Jim on the PC version, the Nintendo emulator for kind of free, pretty much for friends.
Nintendo emulator or Genesis emulator?
Either Super Nintendo, most likely, the Super Nintendo version of Earthworm Jim.
I didn't know there was a Super Nintendo. I thought it was Sega exclusive.
It was something like either Genesis or Super Nintendo generation era that around that time period between those two consoles.
Okay, price charting following loaded. Earthworm Jim. Yeah, let's see. Wow, it was on Game Boy. I didn't know that. Game Boy Advance. Let's see. Game Gear. Yeah, the first Earthworm Jim for Genesis, you can find it loose for $20.
Oh wow! I thought. Excuse me, guys. I guess he said I'm losing track of my ability to
It
see.
was on Super Nintendo, but that one's like $29
Right,
loose.
right. Because I'm hearing,
And
if I can say this though, Triple J, I've been hearing for a good couple of years almost that there are these scalpers they call themselves, where they're not gamers themselves, but they know that it has a value to resell them for a higher price. So for the last at least 2 years, they've been trying to increase these or inflate the prices of some of these games, especially if they're either brand new, especially. So like
yeah, well, if you buy it brand new, you're expected to pay. I mean, let's look at Earthworm Jim brand new for Sega Genesis. If I see how much that goes for. Yeah, brand new Earthworm Jim for Sega Genesis goes for $225.
oh wow, okay,
But that's brand new, never before opened for the Sega Genesis. So
right. I guess you could say
I
I'm
mean,
the type of guy to see what things are, not the what I want it to be. I see that
yeah,
like it's like the scalpers want to fuck up the dynamics of the selling and buying of games, and sometimes even the used games can be not just expensive, but they can't be up there in price sometimes.
and the thing is, also just know how to look for games. Like when I was searching for Agent Under Fire, I just wanted to see how much I could get it for.
Mm-hmm.
What I did was I went to Google Shopping or Google. I typed in the game name. No, not I didn't mention the console. Just double James Bond 007 Agent Under Fire. Then I clicked the shopping tab. Then by sorting, I said price low to high, and the first copy of the game I found was $4.50. I'm like, okay, I could have gotten that. It was an eBay listing, if I remember correctly, or a Macari listing.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's how I find games as cheap as possible. I do Google Shopping, sort low to high, and the first listing that has the game, um, you know, look it over to make sure it's not a that it's not just someone selling the box or the manual. Make sure it's the actual game that's
Mm-hmm.
being sold, and you can find it. And like I mean, scalpers, there's only so much they can sell because games like Earthworm Jim for Sega Genesis and like especially the Sonic the Hedgehog games on Sega Genesis, there's so many copies of them that if you try to sell a loose copy for like hundreds of dollars, you're just going to be sitting there um,
Mm-hmm.
cutting your beard when it grows, waiting for that game to sell. You know.
Yeah.
So I just kind of gave you my strategy of how I'm going to be looking for games I don't know about once I get the ones I know I want.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's all we have for this episode. It was a short episode. Probably not much news came out but this did happen because of the Thanksgiving weekend. Um, so the next episode of the podcast will be on Saturday, December 16th, starting at 9 p.m. Eastern. Do you have any plans for tomorrow, Twitch wise or YouTube wise or anything like that?
I mean, I got nothing better to do as far as just doing my regular tournaments. I will admit this: I haven't done much tournaments for the last couple of days. I've been filling up to do a competitive in tournaments, and I've been having health problems for it too. I will admit that too. So I've been taking a break for almost 2 days now of like tournaments. So I might resume tomorrow. If not, I can do it for Gameplay Popcorn more of Liza P. If not, I can do Max Payne. Um, I've always wanted to do other games too, like the Dirge of Cerebrus with that's a Final Fantasy VII video game for the PS2. Set up my PS2 for that too, if I really want to. So anything's possible for tomorrow, but throughout the weeks especially, into Christmas, I'll try to do more gameplay and it's try to reduce my tournament, playing, for the sake of my health and all. So
Yeah. I wasn't able to stream anything last Sunday. I got sick after lunch and I didn't feel well till like midnight. So
yeah.
I didn't stream anything last Sunday. Hopefully, if I'm feeling fine tomorrow night, I will stream something. I have no idea what though. It depends on what I feel like playing, to be honest. Um, but yeah. Otherwise, yeah. Most days during the week though, after work, like if I have a couple hours, two like 3-4 hours after work before I go to bed, I'm usually doing something business wise with my online marketplace, or I'm doing a Total Extreme Wrestling 2020 video, which I do plan to get one up maybe tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
depending how tomorrow goes. Um, if not tonight. Yeah, but other than that, yeah, I do plan to do something tomorrow. Just don't know what it'll be yet. And if I don't, it just means I'm either sick or too tired to do it. I do gotta go shopping tomorrow for a few things for the dog, basically. Um, but yeah, so other than church and what I gotta pick up tomorrow, it's pretty much I'm pretty much gonna be free Sunday.
Okay.
All right, so I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you follow me if you did. Also, check out the tabs in my About section because I got links to my website. I got links to, I think, my YouTube or BitChute. I forget which one. And hopefully, I'll see you for the next stream 2 weeks for our next podcast 2 weeks from now. Until then, goodbye, everyone.
Later, guys.